This is the second video regarding our process for jury service here in Jackson County in light of the COVID-19 virus. So in the previous video, I discussed selection of jurors. This video deals with after you've been selected. So 12 people will be selected and asked to report to the courtroom in the Jackson County Courthouse. Again, you'll enter the courtroom and you will sit in what we call the gallery. This is the area that normally the public sits in. There'll be numbered seating there, and you'll be given a seat number and asked to sit in that numbered seat throughout the proceedings. This is because these seats will provide for social distancing of all the jurors. Essentially, there'll be 3 sitting on each row, and every other row of the pews will have 3 jurors. So 9 jurors will take their seats on what I call the right side of the courtroom. 3 of you will take seats on the front row of the left side of the courtroom. That will leave some seating in the back of the courtroom for the public. And there will also be seating for the public in the jury box if necessary. We have a room for about 3 people in the jury box. Throughout the proceedings, you will be wearing masks, as will the participants. At times when people are speaking, witnesses in particular, but also counsel when they're asking questions, will be asked to remove their masks so that they can be clearly heard by members of the jury. I am also planning to generally not wear a mask for 2 reasons. One, I never know when I'll have to talk. One, I have to give you an introduction to your duties as jurors after you're sworn in. But 2, if there are any objections made by the attorneys, I have to rule on them. I never know when there's going to be an objection. However, you'll find that the court bench is many, many feet away from our prospective jurors. And the attorneys are also more than social distance from the bench and from the witnesses. But we will attempt to wear masks as much as possible under the circumstances. It's just that the proceedings are also being recorded, and a stenographer, court reporter will be present, and she also needs to clearly hear any of the testimony, comments, and arguments of the attorneys. So once you're seated in your numbered spots, you'll remain in those spots throughout the proceedings. Of course, we're going to take breaks after I go through an orientation with you. Unlike previous occasions, if any of you have served, we will not be using the jury room. So if possible, I would urge men and ladies to leave their personal effects in their motor vehicle, because we won't be able to have them in the jury room. You can have them underneath your feet on the benches, that's fine, if you like. And we will lock the courtroom after you leave, but attorneys and other people may still be entering it, clerks, so forth. Would ask you, though, not to bring any drinks to the courthouse. And we will not be, as we've done in the past, providing coffee or other drinks. Again, I would hope you understand this isn't a lack of courtesy, but one of the other steps we're taking to try to avoid issues with COVID and maintaining social distancing. One of the things you'll notice then is if it's a criminal case and there's a defendant, they probably will have their mask on most of the time. Please, please do not hold this against them. They don't really have a choice about it. There may come a time where a witness is asked to identify the defendant, in which case they may be asked to lower their mask. Again, that's just part of the process that we have. Once you've heard all the evidence, and again, there will be breaks throughout, although you won't use the jury room, you'll be given a chance to use the bathrooms downstairs. We'll let you slowly exit, and then you'll just come back on your own. And so we're hoping people trickle in during, say, the 10-minute or 15-minute break that we've given you. Once all the jurors are back in their seats, the defendant and attorneys are back, we will start again. And that's how the process will go. Most of our trials are one day, so there's not a great deal of need for some of the breaks. So when we get to the end of the trial, after you've heard the closing arguments and heard the instructions, it'll come time for your deliberations. And you'll be directed to go to the first floor of the courthouse in a room we call the memorial room. It's a room that's much larger than our jury room, and the 12 of you will be able to be in a circle, socially distanced from each other, and the doors will be closed so that you can engage in private deliberations. One of our clerks will be stationed outside the door in case you have a question that you need them to answer. They'll continue to be a resource for answering your questions. If during your jury service time you experience some problem, for instance, if your health takes a turn for the worse, you're not feeling well, you're developing some symptoms, please let our clerks know, and we'll see what we can do to assist you. But also keep in mind, we just want to prevent anyone else from suffering from similar types of problems. If you're having issues with people not social distancing, or you believe that the attorneys or others are not trying to follow through with that, again, if you would mention those to someone, we will try to address those concerns. After you come to a verdict, if you do, you'll come back into the courtroom, return to your courtroom seats. You'll be called upon to tell us what your verdict is. In other words, you'll be asked if you have a verdict, if you filled out the form. If you have, you'll hand that to the clerk and they will hand it to me. And I will read the verdict. Once I've read the verdict, we may reach a point where the attorneys want to poll the jury. This is a procedure where I ask each of the jurors if this is in fact their verdict. Having completed that, your service will be at an end. And again, you'll be free to leave. We're going to try to ask you again to leave by rows to maintain your distance. And you will receive your fees and mileage in approximately 3 weeks. If you don't, then call the clerk's office about that. Again, this is to avoid as many contacts as we can. Now, of course, you don't have to leave the courthouse. If you want to talk to one of the attorneys or something, as some jurors do, you'll be welcome to do that after I get finished with the jurors, or with the attorneys, I'm sorry, excuse me. Also true if I get finished with the jurors. But that'll end your service and you're free to return to your normal life. It is our hope that by taking these precautions, we'll be able to have jury trials, but also protect juror members, prospective jurors, court staff, and all concerned so that we can all go home safe and healthy. If these videos prompt any questions from you, please contact our clerk's office and we will attempt to answer any further questions. Thank you.